Hi, so for this video, we're going to talk about the Republic Act No. 3571. It is a significant environmental legislation in the Philippines that aims to protect and preserve the country's green spaces. Enacted on June 21, 1963, this law specifically prohibits the cutting, destroying, or injuring of planted or growing trees, flowering plants, shrubs, or plants of scenic, aesthetic, and ecological value along public roads, in plazas, parks, school premises, or any other public grounds. The key points of this video includes the legislation's protection scope, prohibition, permissible exceptions, and implementation and enforcement. The objectives are for the country's environmental conservation, aesthetic and scenic preservation, and public awareness. And yes, there are several implementation measures and initiatives in place to support the Act. First is the Department of Environment and Natural Resources initiatives. The DENR, through its regional and local offices, regularly monitors public spaces to ensure compliance with the legislation. They issue permits and clearances for any necessary cutting or trimming of trees and plants. Also, the DENR actively promotes tree planting and reforestation programs. Second is the local government units. Many LGUs have enacted local ordinances that complement RA 3571 by imposing stricter regulations on the cutting and maintenance of trees and plants within their jurisdictions. And LGUs implement projects to develop and maintain parks, plazas, and other public green spaces, ensuring that they are protected and enhanced. Third is public awareness and education. Various environmental awareness campaigns are conducted to educate the public about the importance of preserving trees and plants in public spaces. And programs that often involve community participation, such as tree planting activities, cleanup drives, and seminars on environmental conservation. And fourth is partnerships with NGOs and private sector. The government collaborates with NGOs, schools, and private companies to implement projects that align with the goals of RA 3571. And many private companies have CSR programs focused on environmental sustainability. Next, under penalties and enforcement, violations of the Act are met with fines and other penalties as stipulated by the law and local ordinances. And in cases of significant violations, legal actions are taken to ensure accountability and compliance. And lastly is sustainable urban planning. Urban planning and development projects are increasingly incorporating green space conservation and enhancement as essential components. This ensures that new developments do not compromise existing green spaces and instead contribute to their expansion and improvement. Proceeding with the Act's SWOT analysis, its strengths consist of its environmental protection, on which the law provides a strong legal framework for the protection and preservation of trees and plants in public spaces. It also preserves green spaces that enhances the aesthetic appeal of urban areas. Third, the involvement of multiple stakeholders, including government agencies, LGUs, NGOs, and the community, ensures a comprehensive approach to environmental conservation. And lastly, the penalties and fines imposed by the law act as a deterrent against the illegal cutting and damaging of trees and plants. Given its strengths, it also has its weaknesses. Effective enforcement can be challenging due to limited resources, manpower, and logistical constraints. There also may be insufficient public awareness and understanding of the law's provisions, leading to unintentional violations and a lack of community engagement. Obtaining necessary permits and clearances for legitimate tree cutting or trimming can be cumbersome and time-consuming, and varying levels of commitment and capability among LGUs can result in inconsistent implementation. Moving on with the external factors, the opportunities surrounding the legislation consist of integrating green space preservation into urban planning and development can lead to more sustainable and livable cities. Collaboration with private companies through CSR initiatives can provide additional resources and support for tree planting and conservation projects. Utilizing technology such as GIS mapping and remote sensing can improve monitoring and management of protected areas. And expanding environmental education programs in schools and communities can foster a culture of conservation and increase public participation in protecting green spaces. On the other hand, the threats surrounding it are the rapid urbanization and infrastructure development that can threaten green spaces, leading to potential conflicts between development needs and environmental conservation. Climate change and extreme weather events can damage trees and plants, complicating conservation efforts. And despite legal deterrents, illegal logging and land conversion for commercial purposes remain significant threats to protected green spaces. And finally, limited financial and human resources can hinder the effective implementation and enforcement of the law. Given the SWOT analysis, so what can be done? First, it is recommended to strengthen enforcement mechanisms by allocating more funds and resources to DENR and local government units, to invest in regular training for enforcement personnel, and establish community watch groups to help monitor and report violations. Second is to enhance public awareness by launching extensive public awareness campaigns using various media platforms, and integrate environment education into school curricula that emphasize the importance of green spaces, and conducting of workshops and seminars for community leaders, local businesses, and civic organizations to promote active participation in conservation efforts. Third is to simplify bureaucratic processes. Simplify the process for obtaining permits for necessary tree cutting or trimming. Make it more efficient while ensuring environmental safeguards are maintained. Implement clear and transparent procedures for permit applications and approvals to reduce delays and prevent corruption. We should also leverage on technology. We can also develop mobile applications that allow citizens to report illegal activities or tree damage quickly and easily. Fifth is to promote sustainable urban planning. It should encourage the integration of green infrastructures in urban planning to enhance green spaces in cities. It is also encouraged to establish guidelines for urban development. 6 is to foster public-private partnerships. The government could engage with private companies to support tree planting and maintenance through CSR programs. Next is to improve data collection and research. The government should conduct regular ecological studies to assess the health and biodiversity of green spaces and establish a centralized database for sharing information on tree and plant inventories, conservation projects, and enforcement activities. And lastly is they could offer incentives for compliance. Offer tax incentives or rebates to individuals and businesses that actively participate in conservation efforts or contribute to the maintenance of public green spaces. By implementing these recommendations, the effectiveness of Republic Act No. 3571 can be significantly enhanced, ensuring better protection and preservation of the Philippines' green spaces for future generations. Thank you for listening. May we all be the difference for a brighter and greener Philippines.